So this is the end product that we're going to end up with today. This is going to be a video about recycling 3D print waste. So here I'm just gathering my pieces and making sure that those get lined up in the order that they need to get melted in. I want to make sure I'm aware of what all I need to break down and target the largest pieces to melt first. So this is a really large piece that's going in now. I know it's going to be hard to get it to melt down, but I eventually get it to do that. Squeezing in another part that's a thicker piece. Those take the longest to melt, so they need to go in soonest, whereas like the thin pieces, those go in last because they melt really quickly. So I'm just laying out a few more, trying to keep all the white together right now before I add in the black. And I use a 25-pound weight to keep these compressed while they're melting. That way it can help the panini press evenly melt that plastic. Here you saw me kind of twist it around to remove the bubbles and get it all back into a homogeneous state. And now I'm pressing those down, melting it back together. I'm going to press it again, get the plastic off of the Teflon sheet that I use, and twist and roll and twist and roll. Pressing that down, making it as thin as I can so that the panini press doesn't have to melt through too thick of plastic. Doesn't have to transfer heat into too thick of plastic. All right, so time passes, ready to get it off. Starting to look pretty good here, but I'm not ready to put it into the mold just yet. Want to do another melt just to make sure I get through any of those pieces that are left. But here I used the hot plastic to get all of the other plastic off the Teflon sheet, and then going through another round of twisting and kind of marbleizing the plastic. Really the core of this process is to get the air bubbles out, because part of my process is to not shred the plastics. So what I did there was I put some of the smaller thin plastic down so that I could try and get a cool effect to this melt. And we're back on the heat. This is about another 3 minutes here. All right, ready to go. It's looking good. I've got a nice disc. I'm going to turn that out into my mold that I made. I machined this mold with a router and some wood tools. Used a lot of WD-40 to keep it lubricated and just cut and cut. I actually 3D printed a template to cut this circle as well, and that worked pretty well. One of the issues, and we'll get into it a little bit later, is that it's not beveled to make it easy to get the plastic out. So here I'm just pressing it into the mold, getting it all flush as I can, and then getting my press plate put into place, and then the top plate to keep the press plate level, and then clamp, 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 clamp. All the clamps that I have, because I don't have a shop press at this point in time. One of the things that was happening in the background while this melt was going on was the heat gun was heating this mold, because the mold needs to be hot before the plastic touches it, so it doesn't cool the plastic off too fast. So here I'm just opening it, and here's the big reveal. That's the finished piece on its top surface. And I feel like this one looked really cool with the black, white, and a little bit of blue. Got that knocked out. See, it was kind of hard to to knock it out of that centerpiece. That's why those edges need to be beveled. And then I also need the press plate that I have needs to be beveled at some point in time. Here I'm just looking for the best entry point. I'm going to use a chisel to separate the plastic from the press plate. But this is if it was beveled, and if I had used mold release or a wax of some kind, I would have been able to separate these a little bit easier. That's something I've added to my process since I recorded this video, because this is an older video. This is from 2023, I think. It's been a minute since I've done this one, but finally got it out of the press plate off. The thing that I still have to do here is clean up this bottom edge where the plastic has come up around the press plate. But I loved this piece. It was a really pretty one, and there'll be more to come. Thanks for watching. This was a video I did a while back, as I said, in 2023, but I've updated my process a little bit since then. I just wanted to get this out because it was one of the recordings that I've done. Most of what I do is still the same. I have a shop press now instead of clamps. That really simplifies things. I still need to make the changes to my mold that I've talked about, but I just don't have a good means of doing that. I don't know of a machine shop to do it at a reasonable price. I'm adapting with what I have, but each one of these that I forgot to mention earlier is 250 grams of 3D print waste. I've got people from work that send me their waste, and I generate a decent amount just with prototypes and things like that. I don't want it to go to landfill, so I would rather it go into these stock blanks so that I can continue to reuse those in other projects or give them to people to machine. They make great gifts, I feel like, because everybody likes the story behind them. I have a few products posted on my Etsy page with these. If you're interested, go check it out. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.